video. So I'm going to run you through what the changes are to the hero, where we're going with this, brand new moves, all sort of cool stuff. So to get started, I want to make sure that it's like I address the fact that we're really trying to move away from Stamina Bully as an identity, especially for Jormungandr. So what we've been doing with this hero is that we've really looked into how can we make the hero interesting and still have a gimmick, something that lets the hero be unique, have something that's really different and very almost specific to the hero. And so for this, we settled onto making a hero that's still a bully, right? Still a big hammer, still big hits, but it's more of a bully that moves opponents around on a battlefield rather than control their stamina and try to gain the upper hand in terms of stamina, where we're going with this. So the first thing that's important to note is that none of Jormungandr's moves drain stamina, pause stamina, or unbalance out of stamina opponents specifically, right? So there's still, as we'll see, there's a move that unbalances opponents, but it always unbalances opponents. It doesn't matter if they're out of stamina anymore. But like the heavy finishers no longer do it. So a lot of none of his bashes do it either. So we'll have to see where that goes. But it's not. We really wanted to move away from this aspect of the hero. Hammer Slam is still in. Don't worry. So let's get started, right? So to start, we have Jotun Farewell. So we've changed the move. It's a brand new animation, which is this now. So like a big hit to the shins. As you noticed, this attack always unbalances. So you can always do Jotun Farewell into Hammer Slam. Works quite well. It is 800 MS. And it is also feintable. Right? So you can feint to guard break, feint to parry, feint to whatever you like to do. But it's quite strong. It always gives a Hammer Slam. So that's very, very useful. You can do it anywhere. You could use Jotun Farewell, so after lights, after heavies. And we can go anything that initiates chains. You can go into a Jotun Farewell afterwards. We've also did a change to Jormungandr's heavy finishers. So as before, this looks like to be exactly the same, right? The big difference is on top. So top did not use to move opponents back, where sides would. So now all three sides do it. All three sides can lead to a wall splat to gain additional damage. So we really wanted to get into situations where Jormungandr can move people around the battlefield. They can hit them to go towards their allies, to go to the wall splat, to walls, to whatever you'd like. But really, it's bullying them around and moving them around the battlefield quite a bit there. And keeping the spirit of this, we've also added another new move, which is called Venomous Sting. So this is that when you press heavy after landing a guard break, right? So I can do it from here. So as you can see, it's similar to the heavy finishers, where when you land those attacks, they always displace your opponent, move them around. You can wall splat them, get them into a wall, get big damage. They deal damage similar to heavy openers, so 24. On top is always guaranteed. You can get somebody into a wall, hit them again, big damage there. Super interesting things. So again, we really wanted to go towards making sure that the hero was able to move opponents around quite a bit, and we want to be able to chain as well. So you can go into this, and it goes into your light and heavy openers, or into zone attack if you want. They're not guaranteed, but they still help you add more pressure with the hero. So that gives you a bit of more pressure, a bit more interesting things. The next step we have is another new move, which is a zone attack in chains. The move name is the Ouroboros Smite, and so you can press zone attack after any move except itself, Hammer Slam, and Venomous Sting. So you can do Venomous Sting. You're going to go into, because you go back to neutral, you don't really go into your chain, so you can't do the move. But after any single attack in chains, you can go into that move. It's 800 MS. It has uninterruptible stance at 100 MS, so it's very, very difficult to peel. Big trajectory all around Jormungandr. Does pretty respectable damage. And what's interesting too is that you can go into situations where you can go heavy finisher into Ouroboros Smite, into heavy finisher, to Ouroboros Smite. Keep that going, right? So in team fights, you can see this is going to be quite strong. You can hit people around you with an alternating mix of unblockable and armored, and unblockable and armored, and keep the flow going. A lot of what we've been doing with Jormungandr is really work on the hero's flow as well. And this is a big part, right? It kind of acts as a chain reset. It initiates chains. So you can also do, if you'd like, go into this, right? You can go into Farewell, go into Hammer Slam, do all those things that you want to do. Again, the flow is a lot more open when you're able to use that zone attack. Even though it comes from a single stance, because it's feintable, right? So we can feint it. It's still a little bit riskier to parry. You can't really interrupt it. So it's a pretty potent tool in his arsenal, and should help in a lot of anti-gank situations. It's quite good. The next up we're going to look at is the light openers. So Jormungandr's light openers had a bit of an issue, especially at high level, where they used to be pokes. And so because of that, they were a bit easier to read, especially at high level. We have some players that are really, really good at reacting to attacks and reading animations, even after the CCU. And because they were so distinct from the side heavy openers, or from even the top heavy openers, it made them kind of easier to react to and see, oh yeah, okay, I see the poke, I see the wind up, I can parry them on reaction. Even make them a little bit easier to block. So we've actually went back to mocap and reshot these attacks. So now there's swings, right? So all three sides, there's swings instead of being pokes. That should help them, make them a little bit less distinguishable from the heavy openers. So it gives you a little bit more strength into that, where it's a little bit better. It's a little bit like it's harder to react to. So in that way, we really wanted to make Jormungandr like less reactable overall. The next change I want to discuss is the light finishers. So they used to be undodgeable. We've removed the undodgeable property here, mainly because Jotun Farewell and a lot of the other tools that Jorm has in his toolkit right now, they're able to be feinted. You can do a lot more with them. So everything that we've done there felt like it was overkill, and it's also like having the light finishers undodgeable was a bit overkill. And on top of this, it was really difficult to work with at lower level, right? When you're at low level, the undodgeables there might as well be unblockable. They're super hard to react to. They're hard to block. They're still enhanced, right? So Jorm still keeps to get that pressure going. So removing the undodgeable here should help make the hero a little bit less frustrating to fight against, especially at lower level. Another thing we've changed is Jorm's neutral bash, right? So Jormungandr used to have this bash where you could walk backwards and press guard break and would grab the opponent and hit them into the gut with their hammer. At 600 MS, it wasn't that good of a move. It's super reactable at high level, not very good even at low level, like people are able to dodge it. It just did stamina damage, not super interesting. So what we've done instead is we've moved the old Jotun Farewell animation on a front dodge guard break like this, right? So you can do it at 300 MS into the front dodge, similar to a lot of what we've been doing with other melees like that, a lot of bashes. But the important part here is that with this move, it also chains to your openers, and you see right now that light was guaranteed. You can also go into zone if you'd like, you can do whatever. But the idea here is that we wanted to give Jormungandr a better opener, a better way to open up opponents and keep the pressure going, get into that flow, get into the zone, and get that stuff going. So that works quite well. Again, you can go to heavies if you like to. They're armored, right? So there's a lot of good stuff that can happen here in group fights. So that's one thing also to look out for. Next we have front dodge heavy. So it's 800 MS down from, I think it was like 1,000. It was quite slow. So we've really sped it up. And on top of this, we've adjusted the uninterruptible stance timing to be at 400 MS. So right after the feint window. So with this, it creates a bit of a mix-up with the front dodge bash, right? So you can go into this, feint the guard break, feint the parry if people are like reacting to your dodge, trying to dodge your punch and stuff. So really the idea here is get into the zone, give him more mix-up, and give the hero better ways to open up from neutral. And then we also have a quick thing about Jotun Gift and Jotun Grudge. So Jotun Gift is light after a guard break, and Jotun Grudge is a guard break after parry. We're not going to go into it right now because I'm alone recording this. I don't. Unfortunately, we've been having some tech issues. I have to record this alone, but still. And so the idea here is that they now deal direct damage instead of dealing. I can do it again if you like. Instead of dealing stamina damage, right? As I said, we've removed all the stamina damage and we replaced it with direct damage in this case. The idea here is that, first of all, we want it to be useful, right? The stamina damage was useful in creating some sort of I'm going to unbalance you type of situations because we're moving away from that a little bit. But at the same time, what is interesting is that it gives you more options, right? Because depending on the situation, depending on if there's walls nearby, depending on what's going on around you, if your opponent's out of stamina, it might be better to do light into throw into hammer slam. Or if there's a wall, it might be better to do venomous sting into a wall, into a top heavy to deal more damage. So one of the things we're really trying to go towards in this revamp, and a lot of what we've been doing, is emphasize and have a lot of focus on choice. We want players to have different options at different times. Sometimes there's things that are optimal in whatever situation, but the idea here is that we really, really want to have these things be open up. You can make your choice, you have options, you can decide on your own playstyle, on what you want to do, on what's going on around you, what is the best source of damage, what would you prefer to do. Sometimes it's better not to do a hammer slam because you're going to get back up with full stamina. There's a lot of different things that we're looking into here, so we hope this is really interesting here. And then finally, last but not least, last little bit of nugget of cool stuff. As some of you have seen, we've actually had a bug in the game a little while ago where the front dodge heavy had a slightly different animation, and people I saw a lot of people actually thinking about where would this move be used from. It's actually on Jormungandr's new sprint attack. So when Jormungandr runs, you do sprint attack. This is the big attack that we've had right now. You saw a little bit of the animation where he jumps forward and hits people on the way down. So again, another move we've mocapped. Sometimes we go there, we're not 100% sure we're going to be using them for what we're trying to do, like cool stuff. So this is one of those moves that looks really cool. Doesn't really change anything in Jorm's game plan, but just, again, we wanted to go back to how do we make the hero more enticing, look cooler, have better moves, have better flow. So that's about it for me. So thank you. We hope you love this rework. Please leave feedback everywhere you usually do. Big thanks to Noel, who's our game designer, was in charge of this hero. Did a magnificent job. So kudos to him. And we're back on with the show. Thank you.
What a bully indeed. I am so excited